Welcome to the Prison Professors Podcast. We serve people who face challenges with prosecution, sentencing, and prison. My co-founders are Sean Hopwood and Justin Paperny. My name is Michael Santos. We create digital content and our team offers individual consulting services. We also assist agencies that want to improve outcomes. To learn how we can help you, text the word PRISONPRO to 44222. Again, text PRISONPRO to 44222 and get our free brochure. You can also visit us at prisonprofessors.com or contact Justin at 818-424-2220. Please subscribe to our podcast on iTunes. Send confirmation that you reviewed our podcast and we'll send you a free digital book. Stay tuned for a 20 to 30-minute episode of Prison Professors. Welcome to Prison Professors. I am Michael Santos, and today I am going to introduce you to a new friend. His name is Kenneth Kennedy, and Kenneth served time in the state prison system of Alabama. We are going to be learning about his steps and the steps that he took while he was in prison to prepare for a life of success. But first, we're going to hear a little bit about Kenneth talking with us about what brought him into the criminal justice system. So, Kenneth, welcome to Prison Professors. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Okay, my background goes back, let's say I started heavily using drugs around 1985.
How old were you then, Kenneth?
18.
Okay, and that was in Alabama?
That was in New Jersey.
In New Jersey, so you're from Jersey.
I'm originally from New Jersey.
So you were about how old in 1985, 18 you said?
18, yes.
And what kind of drugs were you using?
I was smoking cocaine at the present time and sniffing cocaine and alcohol and marijuana.
A lot of times that leads people into some challenges with the criminal justice system. Was that the first time you had problems with the law?
It was quite a few years afterwards that I started having real problems with the law. Preceding that, it was the typical addiction behaviors such as shoplifting.
Did you ever go into the system as a juvenile or anything like that?
Yes, I have.
So you had a record when it all began to fall apart for you?
Yes, I had a couple of juveniles for a couple of assaults as a juvenile.
Okay, and that was in the New Jersey system?
Yes.
So you said you started using drugs when you were about 18. Did you tell us a little bit about your criminal behavior? What kind of things did you get involved with that led to you becoming under the attention of the criminal justice system?
Like I said, early on, it was like petty shoplifting crime. So a lot of misdemeanors with the shopliftings that came with my addiction. And part of the process in my using. So I was like a gypsy. I was all over the place with shoplifting charges. And then in the early to mid 90s, that escalated to felony charges for possession with intent to distribute narcotics. How
old were you then?
At that time, I was about 25, I believe, when I caught my first felony charge.
And tell us about what process you went through when you got charged. I mean, were you taken into custody? Did you get out on bond? Walk us through that whole process.
I was taken into custody, and the first time, after about a month and a half, 2 months, I was bonded out.
Okay.
And
so where were you held?
In the Essex County, New Jersey Correctional Facility.
What kind of time were you facing with that charge?
That was pretty much my first conviction. So that entailed probation and a program they have in New Jersey, which they call pretrial intervention, which if I followed all the procedures for 1 year, my charges could have been expunged.
Okay.
But being an addict that I was, I turned that to a simple nightmare. I didn't follow the rules. I couldn't give a urine because I was dirty. I wasn't showing up to the program because I was still out there ripping, running, and using. And then a couple of years later, it caught up to me. It was a warrant out for me. And that turned into about a 6-month stint in the county correctional facility for violation of probation.
So you weren't only really a prisoner of the criminal justice system, you were a prisoner of addictions like a lot of people in our system. You needed more medical attention than criminal attention.
Exactly.
So you said you served 6 months inside. Were you clean while you were inside of the jail system?
Yes. Yeah, everything was available, and I refused to use in the criminal justice system. But the insanity of addiction, I came right back out and did the same thing over again, which led to quite a few more what we call skid bids in and out of the county system.
Okay.
Another probably 8 months. And in irony, I'm a At the present time, I had two brothers and a sister. I had a sister that recently passed in 2002. And I remember one time in the 90s sitting in the county jail on a $750 bail. And my mother felt more comfortable with me being in that jail system than trying to come and get me out.
Mm-hmm.
And as an addict, I was finally released. I copped out to a couple of charges, and I was in the jail making a couple of dollars. I worked in the kitchen, so I had a few cash dollars on me. And I could still remember clearly getting out 1 o'clock in the morning, going straight to the dope house.
How long did you struggle with this type of a lifestyle where you were struggling with a combination of addiction and challenges with the criminal justice system? I know you said it started in 1985. Yeah. How long did that system really take hold of your life?
Honestly, up until September 2017.
So that's a total of 17 and 50, almost 30 years you lost to the criminal justice system and drugs.
For the most part, because now that it comes another side of this story, after those little skid bids and in and out of the county system, I've been clean since April 20th, 2000.
Congratulations.
I'm coming up on 18 years clean. But
and is that total clean? You're staying away from everything, including alcohol, everything?
All mind, mood, altering substances, yes.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah,
that takes a lot of courage and a lot of strength. And I know that your family's got to be incredibly proud of you for having the strength to do that. How did that change your life when you made the final decision to stay away? No, first of all, tell us what prompted you to want to stay away from substance abuse.
I really got tired on my own. It wasn't for my daughter. It wasn't for my family. It wasn't for the judicial system. I can remember clearly to this day when I finally woke up, and I had a friend in the program of Narcotics Anonymous, a very good friend. And I remember the night before getting my stuff together and him driving me to the detox for what was my last time at a detox, because there have been many other tune-ups at detoxes. I've probably been through 5 or 6 of them. But this last time, that was for me.
Congratulations. I'm so happy to hear that there was some type of a moment in your life that caused you to wake up and recognize there's something better to live for than doing time in prison. I was in prison for 26 years. I know you didn't know that about me, but I was locked up from the time, about the time that you discovered drugs. I went into the prison system, started getting in trouble in 1985, and I didn't get out until 2013. So I have a lot of empathy for people who've been through this system for a long ways. But what I really like to do, Kenneth, is profile what decisions somebody makes to make a better life. And tell us a little bit. You told us that you were inspired to do so just because you were tired of it. Yeah. Tell us how your life changed once you decided to break free from substance abuse.
Okay, after the break free, like they say in the program of Narcotics Anonymous, for the first year, you're pretty much riding that pink cloud. Not many relationships, you're clean, you're waking up, you're not sick. So everything was beautiful in the beginning. And then it seems like pretty much after that first year, life just smacks you in the face.
Did you have challenges finding employment?
At that time, I didn't.
What kind of work were you doing?
I was working at a recovery house for men.
So you were using your skill set to help other people in struggle?
Yes, yes.
That's awesome.
But then the flip side of that, and then I discovered, after being clean for a couple of years, the money that's in narcotics. You know, I've been dipping and dabbling, dealing prior to that, but I never reaped the benefits of all of the income that came with dealing drugs. So then I want to become a modern day Ricky Barnes.
Walk us through that. What kind of time did those decisions expose you to?
Three arrests in clean time.
What does that mean?
I was arrested 3 times and sentenced to state prison bids.
How long were you sentenced?
One was what they call in New Jersey a 3-year with a 9-month stipulation.
Okay.
That was for 2 separate charges. I'm sorry. They combined two charges together.
Right.
And then I was released I went in July 2011. I was released in April 2011 on parole. And then I caught another charge on parole in January 2012.
And how long did you serve that time?
I'm sorry. And then I had to sit almost a year on that last charge.
So when you were inside of the criminal justice system, tell us a little bit about your mindset. Did you have an idea of what you wanted to do when you came home?
Yes.
And what was that mindset?
I know I wanted to do something different. And as much as that enemy still was trying to figure out a way where I could still move more narcotics, I'm 50 years old right now. And I've been home since 2013. So in the mid 40s, I'm all graying up. And I didn't want to be grandpop or called pop in the prison system. So I knew I had to make some changes.
What kind of changes did you make?
Well, prior to my arrest, my last arrest, like I said, when I came home, I went right back out to the streets, and I was able to move my family to the state of Alabama in 2012.
So was that a big key component for you to get out of the environment that kept influencing you and make a move to a totally new jurisdiction, new place?
That's where it's at now, because once I moved them, mind you, I'm on parole, still going back and forth from Alabama to New Jersey, running my operation.
Oh, so you didn't yet separate from the criminal justice system?
No, not until my last arrest.
Okay, so walk us through that.
I was going back and forth from August 2012, and I had left. I came down here to Alabama to be with my family for the Christmas holidays, the end of 2012, going into 13. I left right after New Year, 2013, took a flight home, got into New Jersey about 2 o'clock. And a long story short, about 2 o'clock in the morning, I was back in handcuffs by noontime that day.
And that kept you locked up for how long?
That kept me locked up I had to finish off my probation term, so that was about another 9 months.
Was that the last time you had a problem with the law?
I pleaded my case to this judge at the end, because at the time my family was down here, and I was going back and forth. He blessed me with probation, 4 years probation, from September 2013, and I finally finished up September 2017.
Oh, that's not too long ago. So what worked for you that time? Was it just that you were getting older and you knew that you wanted to make a change, or was there anything else that really influenced you to say, that's it, I'm finished, draw my line in the sand, I'm never going to commit a crime again? Tell us through that. Tell us about that.
Okay, yes. At that time, I left New Jersey, and I've been in Alabama for the most part permanently since then, besides little short visits back and forth to New Jersey and New York, which aren't as frequent now. I joined a ministry, a church. Well, not joined, but I became a part of a church. Yeah, I was just tired, and the pastor at this church that I attend, he's a new pastor who's also in the office at this community college that we have down in Alabama. And it was just so simple to get into in college, and this is what I've been doing since spring semester 2016.
You know, I got to tell you, I've learned a little bit from just listening to you, Kenneth, and a lot of our audience are people who are locked inside of prisons. In fact, we're broadcasting this episode inside of the New York City Department of Corrections, the Bureau of Prisons, the California Department of Corrections, and a lot of those people are just like you and me. We're people who we made bad decisions when we were young. Those bad decisions locked us into this cycle of failure, but there comes a time when we recognize we've got to draw a line in the sand and say, this is it. And my goal in presenting your inspiring story, because now we're going to spend the second half of this interview talking about how awesome your life has become since you made that shift. Yeah. But what I really want to convey to people who are locked up is the friends that you choose a lot of times are going to put you in this cycle of continuing cycles of problems and failure, or put you on a path to success. And what I heard from you is you finally connected with the church, got around a community of positive people, Then you found a mentor who opened a door for you to get involved in education. And bam, all of a sudden, you're just a citizen making things happen. Right. So walk us through now. If I expressed that right and I learned that from you, I'd like you to tell us a little bit about what life was like for you once you decided to cut those ties and surround yourself with positive people.
Okay, the way life is now, it's not all peaches and cream and gravy because there can be some financial issues. But overall, looking at the big picture, life is a lot better the way it is right now.
How did you do it, though? How did you go from being a guy that was involved in the criminal underworld and then coming out and joining a church or participating in a church and finding a mentor like that pastor? Tell us about what steps you took to make that happen, or what pushed you to do that.
I could just give it to God and say it was God's. Born and raised in for the most part, a stable household.
Wait a minute, we'd lost a little internet connectivity there. Again, I'm going to ask you the question again. Okay. What pushed you to make that change and go and meet with the church and connect with the pastor?
It starts back with my upbringing. I was brought up in a good household. So the foundation, the seed has always been planted. I can't blame my mother or my father because they did their best for me. But I chose other alternatives. So I say that to say that the seed was planted. The seed was already planted in me. And I just had to put some water on it and let it grow.
That's right. How did you get the resources to get into a community college?
Again, it was simple. A lot easier than I thought. Now, let me backtrack a little bit and I just left out a little piece of my story.
Please give us a story.
This is for the listeners that's listening. I received my high school diploma, not a GED, my high school diploma in state prison.
Congratulations, man. That's awesome.
2013.
How old were you then?
46.
It takes a lot for an adult to go back to school and go through all those courses. I can tell you it was tough to do when we were 15 and 16, a lot tougher to do when you're 40 or 45.
Exactly. Yeah, I was just real focused on that this last time. I'm just backtracking a little bit because that was, not that I was in prison wilding or anything, but I really went in this last one. I said, another cliche is saying, I'm going to let the time serve me. I wasn't going to serve that time.
Right on.
So everything I can get out that time, I put full effort into doing the right thing.
Well, you were ready at that time. Tell us how as you look back, how would it have been for you if you had that change of mindset when you were 18 or 20 or 25?
Well, I can do it to myself a lot of times. And I'm my worst critic and my hardest critic. But sometimes I just try to beat myself with the feather. But a lot of times it could be with the shovel.
You know something, I'll tell you, Kenneth, we all have a purpose in life, and I think that part of your purpose is helping other people realize that. That's why we're just so grateful to you for taking time out of your busy day to send this message to people who are locked up, because they can listen to you and realize, hey, this is the time for me to start making those seeds. Because, I know had I, made better decisions when I was 18, 19, 20, I could have avoided serving 26 years in prison, which is why I feel so passionately about bringing stories back in. But I can't reach everybody. That's why I need brothers like you to come on the show and talk about your experience.
Right.
Yeah. So you go through school, you start with the GED, and then you get out when you're in your late 40s and start college, man. That is incredible. Tell us about your experience in college.
I love it. It's a great sense of purpose.
How long have you been going to college now?
I started spring 2016.
Okay.
I do 9 credits each semester. Last spring, I did 13 credits. And I say that to say I'm working on 9 credits this semester. And through God's grace and mercy, I'll be finishing up this course with my associate's degree in applied science in December of this year, 2018.
That is an amazing accomplishment. And you're 50 years old now?
Yes.
And that shows us that it's never too early and it's never too late to begin finding the strength that comes with the pursuit of education.
I think I'm the oldest man in a lot of my classes with a bunch of kids that are younger than my children, some of the children that I have.
But you're not only a student, Kenneth, you're also a teacher. And just by sharing your story, you're helping us teach people who are in prison because they need to hear your inspiring story. And we know it's not easy. It's not easy because you've got a family and you've got to earn a living. And I'd like you to tell us, because that really takes the commitment. And one of the things that we teach in the Prison Professors program is to make a commitment requires the right attitude. And we define the right attitude as 100% commitment. It sounds like that's what you have, is 100% commitment. Exactly. What kind of challenges and sacrifices are you having to make in order to stay focused on your school?
Full-time work. I don't work full-time. You just have to rid yourself of a lot of different distractions.
What kind of work are you doing right now?
I do, I'm a customer auditor for all of the public grocery stores in this region of Alabama. So I run 4 stores.
So you're doing customer service? Is that what that is?
Yes, but I'm as an independent contractor, not directly for the supermarket. So I do a lot of independent contracting work.
Can you tell us what that means? Because I think a lot of people who are in custody listening to this might want to pursue that type of career. How does one get involved in a job like that? And tell us how your change of heart and your education is helping you become more successful.
Okay, if you look at someone is in the system and they get out, if you don't have a computer, get to your local library, or get with somebody that has a computer, and you can put in a search at Google, supermarket resets, customer audits.
And what do you do? What exactly do you do? Tell us like a typical day on the job.
Okay, I bring in, if a buyer has a new product, I introduce it to my public stores. And I could do the sampling, the displays. There's a lot of sampling involved to let the customer try different products.
I see. So you're one of those, you have like in a grocery store, there might be a stand with new kinds of sausage, and you'd be the guy there helping people learn how to use that.
Right. Or taste the product. You do some cooking. And I need to say, with most of these companies, it's 1090 money. So you're independent contractor.
1099. So you get paid based on your performance.
Right. And you pay your taxes at the end. But a lot of these companies don't do too much researching into your background. Some of them do, but most don't.
But the important message here for somebody who's locked up and wondering if they want to pursue a career like that, or what can I do when I'm inside right now to begin positioning myself so I become successful, so successful enough that I could work and go to school. Right. And one thing that would make it a lot easier is if they started educating themselves and going to school while they were still locked up.
Yes, you have nothing but time. And take advantage of that time, my brothers and sisters, please.
And the way they can do that, whether there's a class available or not, they can always pick up a book. They can always learn how to communicate better, because really what you are is an educator. You're a communicator. You're teaching people how to use new products, and you're persuading them to buy that new product. And that's what makes you a superstar.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate you for sharing your inspiring story, and we're hoping that more people who are locked up begin to follow in your footsteps, Kenneth, because it's leaders like you that can really move the needle and help us change how the criminal justice system sees people who are locked up. Do you have any final words of wisdom that you might like to offer to our audience who are locked in prisons and jails across the United States?
Well, my brothers and sisters, at the end of the day, like I said, I'm encroaching on my associate's degree, but the sky's the limit. I'm shooting for bachelor's, master's, and doctorate. I'm going for the moon, but it takes a lot of hard work and dedication. I'm doing assignments now. I'm finishing up a Math 116 class that just started Monday. The first group of assignments is due February 5th. And I'm done with that. On the trade portion, I did a lot of work last night, so I'm mid-February on my work. Because I just learned that you have to be consistent. And I'm an ultimate procrastinator, but I'm trying to address my procrastination to push my agenda forward.
Well, I'm going to give you a little bit of inspiration just before we come to the end of this show.
Please.
I'm going to tell you the story. I know you know my partner, Sean Hopwood.
Yes.
But I want to tell you about another individual who was an addict. He's on our program, and I'm going to send you a link to him. His name was De La Cruz, and De La Cruz was an addict and a former leader of a Mexican gang in prison. He did 30 years in prison before he was in his mid-40s or late 40s and recognized that education could change his life. Just like you, he got his associate's degree. Then he went on and got his bachelor's degree. Yes. Then he went on and got his master's degree. And now he is Dr. De La Cruz, and he is earning more than $100,000 a year doing what? He is a gang intervention expert witness. So when lawyers are representing gang members or something like that, they call him in as an expert, and they pay him big money to talk about the gang culture and the drug culture and what he learned from it. And he's created a job for himself, but you need to get those credentials just like you're doing in order to make that money. And I really want you to continue and come back on our program later and tell us more about how your life is changing, because you are pursuing this path to excellence. And the more people we can get doing that, the more we can change the world, Kenneth.
Well, let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen. Yes. I'm so glad that we had the opportunity to learn from Kenneth Kennedy today. He spoke to us from Alabama. He was a prisoner in the state system of New Jersey, but today he is a man on a pathway to success. He is exactly what we want to see come out of our criminal justice system. We just want people to get started a lot earlier so they don't serve as much time as we did.
Right. That's right.
I am Michael with PrisonProfessors.com. We ask you to subscribe to our program on iTunes. And if you want any information on how we can help you, visit us at PrisonProfessors.com or text the word Prison Pro to 44222, and we will send you a brochure that describes how we help. But we heard a lot of good information from our man Kenneth Kennedy today. And with this podcast, we're just asking you to share it, spread it, and follow in his footsteps, because he is a leader. Thank you.
Thank you.